What's going on, you guys? How are you guys doing today? Me? I'm chilling. But I wanted to come and talk to you guys about why God allows us to suffer. This isn't going to be like my typical edited video. I'm just going to flow. I'm just going to talk. Um, I like having the discussion. So I wanted to try something new. But in order to really break this down, we got to change the way that we look at the word suffering. We tend to give suffering, the word, a negative connotation, very much similarly to the word failure. We tend to look at them in a negative light, when in actuality, they are words to describe growth. That's how I choose to look at them. When I fail, I don't look at it in a negative light. I look at it from a positive standpoint. Yes, maybe negative in a sense of, I feel like now I'm gonna have to give more time to this. I feel like maybe my time was wasted a little bit, but in actuality, that's not even true. When you're failing, it's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to develop yourself into the person you want to be. I actually value losing more than winning. I learn so much more in my losses than I do in my wins, in my W's. So I prefer to actually lose. I don't want to lose though to have some real life catastrophe happen to me or I lose my home or something, but I want to be able to lose and to learn and to better myself to get to where I want to be. I much prefer that route. I much prefer learning. You should always be a student, no matter how old you are. That never changes. So I value and I welcome obstacles. I welcome tribulations. I welcome any opportunity where it's going to put me in a position to learn, grow, and develop myself. So we got to change the way that we look at these words, that failure, suffering. We need to change our perception of the words. You can essentially change the way you feel about something if you can control or master the way in which you perceive it. So I'm going to perceive suffering and failure as opportunities to learn. I can perceive it that way, or I can perceive it as, oh, I'm never gonna get what I want in life. I can sit around and mope, all day about the suffering I'm going through or the failure I just experienced, So I choose not to look at it in that light. I tend to look at it in a sense of how, when Job was going through his whole losing of the family, losing of his animals, all of that, he was really looking for God. He had a moment there where he felt like God was turning his back on him. He says, I look left, I look right, but I don't see him. I don't perceive him. But having faith, understanding that no matter what I'm going through in this moment, I know God is going to pull me through. He said, I do know that when I come out of this, I'm going to be like refined gold. He puts me through the fire and I'm going to come out as refined gold. And if you know what refined gold is, the process of burning off other like metallics and things like that off of gold, impurities. It's burning off other impurities off of gold to make it more pure. So that's the process of refining gold. But that same concept, that same idea can be applied to our own life. Whenever we're going through a storm, it's God refining us. It's God molding us, changing us, shifting us, putting us on the path that he has always had designed for us. So it isn't a negative thing. It's maybe we drifted too far away from him. God likes to guide us, but he does it from a distance, almost like a leash on us. He has a path for us to go, but he allows us to move off of that path a little bit. But it's only when we're going too far or we're going in a direction that's taking us off of that path, he'll course correct us. And that course correction could be a storm. He may be saying, hey, I need your attention. You need to get out of this, or you need to stop doing this because this is not what I had planned for your life. This is not what I had planned for you to do. So a lot of times storms are to course correct us, and they're also to build faith. They're situations where he's trying to force us to be more reliant upon him instead of ourselves. So he'll put us in a storm to make you come back to him. And that's just the way he operates. And the more he puts you through those storms, the more reliant upon him you become. You're able to withstand more because you have experienced situations similar before, and God made a way. So every time that God has made a way through these storms that you went through, you start to build up a hardness to the next storm, to the next storm. You start to feel like less worried. You start to feel less worried because he brought you through the storms in the past. So it's a way that he builds faith. And not only does that build faith, it also creates your testimony. So the way to reach people, to understand or to introduce Christ to people is through your testimony. Always, when you're introducing people to Christ, use your story, how he made a way for you. Don't try to force them to go to church. Don't try to sell them on the idea, because at the end of the day, it's a personal experience with him. Now, all I can do is tell you what he's done for me and how much of my life has been a blessing because of him. But that's my personal experience. Now, I try to relate my story to you in the sense of, look, I was just like you back in the day. I didn't believe in God, or, this XYZ happened to me. I was homeless, and then God made a way. When you're able to relate yourself to somebody or put yourself in somebody else's shoes, they're more likely to listen to you, to give a shot to whatever it is that you're trying to say to them. So always start with your story, humble yourself, and relate to them. And I learned that just from the way that Christ operated, in the sense of giving stories, telling parables so that they can understand more and they will be more willing to listen. So yeah, these storms build your testimony. They build your faith. They build your testimony. And at the end of the day, it does nothing but bring more people to God. So he knows what he's doing. He's never going to give you too much that you can't handle. And just know that he's trying to prune you. He's trying to make you into who he birthed you to be. You're unique. There's nobody else in this world that's like you. We all have a purpose, and he's trying to lead you into that purpose. It's very similar to a grape. I love Bishop T.D. Jakes talks about how a grape must be crushed in order to become the best version of itself, which is wine. So like the grape, we must be crushed in order to become who it is that Christ wanted us to be. So that is the main reason why we experience storms, or the main reason why God allows us to suffer. But I thank you guys for checking out this video. Like I said, it's raw, man. I ain't editing nothing. Nothing is getting edited. But I thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm going to have more content on the way. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.